Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in here. Murder Church on a Tuesday night, episode 21 of the Phil Spector Hollywood Murder Trial, coming at you. Thanks a lot, everyone, for being in here. Please give it a share on the old X machine, on Twitter. I really appreciate that. Let people know that you're hanging out. Hit the like if you have not. And yeah, getting ready to come at you guys with one more episode. Another episode, I should say, because we're going to keep these rolling, baby. Coming at you.
Let's rock.
Yo, everybody, what's up? What is going on? Let me get the Botrix up here. I need to do a little refresh, log back in. What's up? Tuesday night Murder Church coming at you, folks. Appreciate everyone for coming in here today and here tonight. Give me 1 second here. I've got to do the Botrix thing. I get annoyed by that if I don't. I do enjoy seeing the chat up here, but welcome in. Also need to get this chat up so I can talk to you folks. Yeah, if you did not hear me in the opening there, please hit the like, share it out, let people know that you're hanging out. I got a little bit of a business to tend to. First of all, the bills, just so I don't fucking forget. Thank you so much, Simi. Hold on.
Respect my house.
Hold on 1 second. And that house is, baby, Murder Church, house of the Lord. Well, someone's Lord. Yes. Okay. Woo. Yeah, buddy, I sent you an email. Check that out. Yeah, we can try that again. I just want to make sure I got the address right. And I've got a picture to send you too of the actual how it looked and see what you think about that. Welcome in, everybody. One thing that I want to discuss, we have a wheel ready to rock and roll from Sunday. If anybody didn't know Sunday, the stream, my internet just went to crap, basically, and this whole stream just went down, and I'm hoping that I don't have those problems here tonight. That would suck. But so far, so good. One thing we do have to start out with, anytime I want to do it, actually, we have a wheel ready to go. I just need to get the names on there. So we'll start the show, and then I'll get that. But one thing I wanted to show off is Ember Burns in the chat. Is Ember Burns in the chat? Does everything look good, sound good tonight? Hopefully so. Dizzy in the house, Meg in the house, Carrie in the house, Sarah in the house. What's up, everybody? Afton in the house, City Kitty, Tiff coming through. What's up? Darren Dusty coming through. What's up? And to start us off here, starting a brand new wheel, Jersey Gin, gifting out a membership to Kathy. Welcome now in here. Beers in the chat. Wow. First of all, coming into not fucking around. That's what's not happening. Welcome to the party, pal, Kathy. Love it. Thank you very much. Is Ember Burns in here? Yo, Heavy Metal Rehab. What's up? And what's up? A lot of people hanging in. I'm about to show you guys one of the coolest things. One of the coolest freaking things that I've ever received. I put it on Twitter. I put it on X. This was made by Ember Burns. If you're, first of all, not in If you're not in the Discord, you should be. Bob, people coming in here, welcome in from Murder Church. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Bob, for sending those folks in. That's freaking cool. If you're not in the Discord, you should be in the Discord because we have a craft section, and I have a crocheted bong. There's the Discord link right there. I'm about to show you guys. This came in the mail, okay? Ember Burns, if you're in here, you sweet, sweet soul. Oh, wow. It doesn't come out great with the green screen. Let me see if I can block it. Hold on. Kind of still fucks it up. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn the green screen off. Look at this. Look at this fucking thing. Look at this. Is this not the coolest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life? Look at this dude! Look at this fucking guy! Are you kidding me? Packed up, ready to fucking go! What the fuck, dude? This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, Ember Burns, you knocked it out of the fucking park. Wow. Blew me the fuck away. I don't even know what to say. Hey, if you're coming in here and you're new, welcome in. Sub up. First of all, hit the like. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. It blew me away. Okay. Insanity when she sent that out here. If anybody sees her come through, also let her know. Like, I was shouting her out. Like, I'm literally speechless. And she sent an amazing note that I didn't bring down here. I've got to get the note for you guys too. Like, oh man, I'm not going to remember it verbatim, but it was basically like, thanks for making YouTube such a much better place. Beers in the chat. Like, it was such a fucking nice personal message. Like, I'm sort of speechless. Like, really freaking cool, man. But yeah, welcome in here, folks. What we're going to do here tonight, I'm going to get a wheel ready to spin. If you're new here and you don't know about the wheel, every time we get a donation, whether that's through getting new members, and if you don't have your memberships turned on, make sure you do. We have very kind and generous folks here that gift out memberships all the time. Gifting memberships, giving supers, hitting the link tree up there, getting the Venmo, the PayPal, coffees, any of that will get you on this wheel right here, which I'm about to fill up. We have a spin ready to go, and then whoever wins a shirt from the merch store, okay? Which is pretty freaking cool, and we have a lot of cool stuff in the merch store. The most popular item right here, the Publicly Buzzed shirt. Let me get Phil out of here so you guys can see it in the chat for just a second. This shirt right here is the most popular shirt. Everyone's the Buzzed Mysteries. It's a play on Unsolved Mysteries. But yes, we're about to rock and roll. I'm about to start this new wheel out. Everyone in here, thank you so freaking much. I'm about to fix the name here also because we have a witness up here. Let me get you a fro Phil Spector. Huh? I like to play with Phil on here a little bit. Let me get the chat back up here. And then let me fix this name as well. With who is about to be up here, I believe. Anyways, yeah. LA County Medical Examiner Dr. Louis Pina takes the stand. We got an hour and 11 minutes. I'm going to start working on this wheel. And as I do work on this wheel and get ready to spin it, we'll rock and roll, baby. Thanks so much for being in here. Appreciate it, guys. Let's rock.
All right, the defendant is present with his counsel. The district attorneys are present. The jurors and the alternates are not. Is there something to do before we get to the jurors?
Just briefly, Your Honor, we have two experts here, Dr. Spitz and Dr. DeMayo.
Yeah, let me get this wheel going for you guys.
Assisting us during Dr. Pena's testimony.
Jay, what's up, brother?
Thank you.
Shit, Jen Del Rio on the wheel. Thank you so much. And Ann Piccolo got gifted out of membership. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Started out right. Jen, you're on that wheel. You have the opportunity of winning a free shirt.
Okay, I've read them. I don't want to use the jurors' time right now, but we'll get to them. Anything else? Are we ready to bring in the jurors?
One thing very briefly,
Yes.
Your Honor. I've raised this with Mr. Dixon and Mr. Jackson this morning regarding a potential witness later this week, Gregory Diamond.
Incredibly generous people
It's no need to
in the
take it
Buzz
now.
Nation.
I was preparing him over the weekend, and I noticed that there's a number of items, paper items, that I think both sides would like to have access to because of the nature of this witness.
Yeah, let me get this thing going.
Issues.
Let me see fucking mayhem.
Maybe at the end of the day, we could take a few minutes in chambers and go through it so we don't waste the jury's time.
Fine, thank you.
But that would absolutely be necessary to handle before we get that witness.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's bring it up.
I guess my question is this rather lengthy motion
That's Alan
that was
Jackson,
filed this morning,
Karen Reed.
that we've just gotten deals with Dr. Pinion and I guess the scope of cross-examination. I want to make sure that the court doesn't believe if you've read the motion. I just barely had a chance to scan it this morning.
Before his cross-examination, we'll do whatever is necessary. We may have to defer it so that you can get a chance to respond to it.
Is there anything that the court noticed or noted in their motion that I should be aware of on direct examination insofar as doors are opened or doors are not opened?
I sort of had to inferentially draw certain conclusions, which would be that I guess they're trying to, the purpose of the motion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is to cross-examine him on things that he hasn't reviewed, which has to do, my guess is probably some kind of psychological autopsy of the victim. Is that correct?
Well, there was two giant binders of stuff that were sent to the medical examiner's office by the district attorney's office that I asked for that in discovery, where's his notes regarding his review, and it was reported to me that he didn't review that material that was sent by the district attorney's office, that supposedly he reviewed other materials that I don't have discovery on. I'm not, stuff that we basically provide in discovery. I haven't seen any notes on that, but I'm going to have to wait to see what Dr. Pena says. I think that's what he says as far as what he reviewed or didn't review or received but didn't review. We'll just have to kind of wait till direct and see how that plays out.
All right. Does that answer your question or not?
No,
I don't think my answer was necessarily a motion. It's just simply my take on the law as to what the scope of cross-examination could be, depending upon what the foundational facts are.
One of the things that I wanted to bring up before Dr. Pena testified, obviously, was that scope and what the defense. I mean, the motion is unbelievably vague. I mean, if they want to cross him on something, they should list what they want to cross him on, so I can respond to it. I don't know what Mr. Plord is talking about with regard to just generally stuff that he didn't rely on, or stuff he might have relied on, or stuff he should have relied on and didn't. I mean, none of that is listed. If they're talking about the pumpkin pie stuff and Jennifer Hayes stuff, then we've got
Ready to rock with a will, baby. And I just saw some craziness,
outside the presence of the jury.
absolute madness happening in the chat right here. Holy shit, Shiraz is insane. If you don't know Shiraz, you should fucking know Shiraz. She's an absolute mad person. Holy shit. Crazy. Dropping out gifted memberships all the freaking time. And who got these things? First of all, Jindy, Plain Mary Jane, awesome name. Let's see if I can get this one right. I'm going to butcher it. I know I'm going to butcher it, and I apologize ahead of time. Astaria Dane. Daney. Astaria Daney. I know I butchered that. I'm so sorry. Jack Hanna getting one as well. Welcome the hell in here, guys. Did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and Todd. Todd got one as well. Hell yeah. Let's go. Let's go. And we already know, I already see them popping off beers in the chat. When we get some new folks in here, Ornated Grog, you see this thing at the end with the plant stuff in there? That was Phil Spector's drink of choice when he would go to a lot of these restaurants. So Shiraz, let me get you on the list as well. Sarah coming through with a $3.99 super sticker, not fucking around either. Holy crap, guys. And while we're already kind of paused up here, before we got really rolling into this witness, I'm going to go ahead and get a wheel spin going, because why the hell not? Let me get Shiraz on here. Thank you so freaking much. That's so generous. Incredible. Get that on here. And then let me also get Aspiring Court Reporter, who is an absolute G around these parts. Who was amazing. For the $3.99. Holy shit. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Boom. All right, folks. Wow. Yeah, we have some incredible folks in the Buzz Nation. So we're going to go ahead and get this wheel going real quick. Hold on. I think we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get this light over here real quick. Let's go. Get my cam set up. Oh shit, my cam's all fucked up. Queen Olive. Queen Olive. Get yourself a free shirt, my lady. Hell yes. Another G around these parts as well. Always coming through, donating. Hell yes. Hell yes. First shirt of the night. Damn. We give out a lot of shirts around these parts, guys. So yeah. And like I said, we have a lot of cool merch to choose from. Queen Olive, PubliclyBuzzed.com. Go pick out any shirt that you want. Even the cult shirt. What I'll do is if you want that shirt, I will just make it without the writing on the back. That will make it a little bit cheaper. Where that one's a little bit weird with the extra writing on the back. For some reason charges $8 extra, which is madness. The coffee mug, if you want the coffee mug, pick that. Anything you want on there, basically shirt or the coffee mug wise. Grab it, get in there, and then let me know. publiclybuzzed@gmail.com, or if you follow me on Twitter, on X, get in my messages. Hell yes. Is Queen Olive in here also? Hope she's in here. She might not know. If not, we will let her know. And I'm also going to put her on my list so we won't forget. Just making sure I'm not forgetting. I'm not missing anything. Got it caught up, guys. Got it caught up. Hell yeah. Well, we're going to rock and roll here for a little while. Let's rock and roll. Oh, right now, Plain Mary Jane. It's 1:20 a.m. Wow. Here in the UK, what time is it there in the US right now? On the East Coast, where I'm at, it's 8:18 p.m. So good morning, and if you're a night owl like me, that'll be about the time I'll probably start to crash out.
I agree, but I don't think that will directly affect how you put on your direct.
Then I have no objection.
Yeah, if you see her, let her know.
Okay, let's get going with the jurors.
Okay.
Let's
Put her
bring
name
the
on
jurors,
here.
please.
Don't forget. I think Queen Olive might already be it.
Do
No,
you
I don't
solemnly
think she's
swear
won
that the
yet.
testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court
a new
shall
winner,
be
I
the
believe.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Luis Pena, first name is Louis, last name is Pena.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Doctor, what is your current position?
I'm a physician, a forensic pathologist, in the position of Deputy Medical Examiner for Los Angeles County Department of Coroner.
What exactly is a forensic
He's young.
pathologist, Doctor?
It is a subspecialty in pathology in which a doctor will perform autopsies on a daily basis to determine what is known as the cause of death or what is a specific injury or illness that caused that person to die. Number two, they'll determine what is known as the manner of death or the circumstances surrounding that death to mold it, whether it be a natural, homicide,
Working on it, Jen.
or accident, depending, again, on police input, our investigator coroner at the death scene. So we need input to determine mainly what is the manner of death. And that's mainly our two functions, cause of death and manner of death.
Doctor, do you hold currently a California medical license?
Yes.
How long have you held that license?
Let me get it for you,
Since
Dizzy.
1991.
Always forget.
What education, training, and background qualifies you to perform the duties that you've just explained to the jurors that a forensic pathologist performs on a daily basis?
I have a medical degree from the University of Minnesota.
Larry Fiddler is the actual judge's name. We call him Judge Diehard, Judge Bruce Willis around these parts. He looks like the doppelganger of Bruce freaking Willis. But yes, the real name is Judge Larry Fiddler, and this is my legit favorite judge since I've started doing true crime and doing trials.
I then did a residency program.
Very fair.
Known as pathology for 6 years here in Los Angeles at the LA County Medical Center and also at the VA Hospital in Wadsworth in West LA. I then subspecialized in the area known as forensic pathology.
He was very
at
clear
Los Angeles
and
County
loud.
Department of Coroner for 1 year. As Mr. Jackson alluded to earlier, I hold a current California valid medical license since 1991. I'm board certified by the American Board of Pathology in the fields known as anatomic.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, I love to see that.
And forensic pathology.
I think I remember your
I've done
comment.
over 3,300 autopsies and testified about 260 times in court.
Doctor, do you perform an autopsy? You alluded to this just a second ago in an answer to an earlier question, that you perform autopsies to basically come to two conclusions. The cause of death, specifically, and the manner of death, correct?
Yes.
Describe for the jurors what the difference between a cause of death and a manner of death is.
A cause of death is the specific injury or illness that will cause a person to die. So, for example, a specific injury could be anything from like an auto accident, very simple, when someone receives what's called blunt force trauma to the body, as a result of those injuries, for example, head trauma, neck trauma, or commonly we see chest trauma, of course, they will die as a result of that, whether it be at the scene or at a residence or on the street, wherever, or in a hospital. That is known as the cause of death from an injury. Also, drugs are a notorious example that we see in our office that can cause accidental type deaths or injury type deaths. We also have exposures from the environment, like asbestosis is still big in our county. The other example, natural diseases, of course, you think of the heart. Heart disease is probably the number one disease that we see in our county, and those are causes of death. Manner of death, once again, I need input, and we have what are called investigator coroners who are at the death scene or go to the hospital for us. They'll obtain medical records, talk to family, friends. The police will be involved currently with them on all our cases. So we're able to discern from that information, does this need to be further investigated with maybe the detectives, do they need to get involved? So it's a team effort. So with all that information put together from the investigator coroner, the law enforcement agencies, and here in LA County, that can be the LA Police Department, LA Sheriff's Crime Lab, or LA Sheriff's Department, or even the FBI we work with commonly, in putting that information together from them in terms of reports or interviews, meetings, we can hopefully discern whether this is a manner of death that would be necessitated classification.
Holy shit, the wheel grows just as I put that up on the screen. Pammy in the chat, $20. $20 through the Cash App for Let's Go Will. Holy shit. That is absolutely insane. Let me get you on here, Pammy. That is incredible. Wow. Cash App is open, ready to rock and roll as well. Man, $20 is nuts. Holy shit. Let's go.
Natural,
add it to the wheel.
Accident, suicide, homicide, etc.
So from that answer, to use the first example that you used, if you were to take a garden variety case that you might be assigned to work on, you might assign a cause of death to be blunt force trauma to a certain particular individual, yet the manner of death might need to go beyond just the autopsy table. Look at extrinsic information and the circumstances surrounding that cause of death, blunt force trauma, and determine that it was a blunt force trauma caused by, for instance, a car accident.
That's correct.
Okay, and so the manner of death is separated from the cause of death insofar as the cause of death tells us exactly what mechanism caused the death, blunt force trauma or stab wound to the neck or whatever else it might be, versus the manner of death, how that death occurred or how that blunt force trauma or stab wound or whatever occurred, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Jessica,
in each of those cases that you've talked about, and you said you've done somewhere in excess of 3,300 different autopsies, correct?
Yes.
All right. Here in the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office, is every deceased person assigned a very specific and unique coroner's case number?
Yes.
Describe how those coroner's case numbers are assigned.
We'll get a call through our investigations. There's a certain unit over there that receives all calls, whether it be from a hospital, law enforcement at a death scene, and they're right away given a number, because it's going to be a coroner's case. They establish that we have to take jurisdiction of that case, whether it be trauma, violent death, suicide, overdose. We'll take all those cases, of course, and that number has already come in, has already been assigned, pre-assigned. So once our investigator coroner goes to the hospital to pick up that body, for instance, or goes to a death scene, that number has been already pre-assigned.
Are there ever any two coroner's case numbers that are assigned to the, I'm sorry, I should say two decedents who are assigned the same coroner's case number?
No.
Is the coroner's case number assigned by way of two separate numbers? The first number indicating the year of the decedent's death, and the second number, the sequential order in the coroner's office in which that decedent is assigned to a case?
Yes.
All right. So in other words, a coroner's case number that starts out 99-005 would indicate that in 1999, that was the fifth coroner's case number assigned. That decedent would have that coroner's case number, and no other decedent would have that specific number, correct?
Yes.
In this case, did you perform, or were you assigned to perform an autopsy on coroner's case number 2003-00937?
Yes.
And specifically, was that decedent Lana Clarkson?
Yes, it was.
Was that coroner's case number 03, or what's abbreviated as
Don't think I did.
03-937? Is that
I might not be able to get back up
case
to it.
number assigned to Lana Clarkson and only to Lana Clarkson?
Yes, it is.
Taryn, was that before Shiraz sent out 5 gifted memberships? That's as far as I can go back. I might have missed those. What's up?
Dr. Pena, when were you first assigned to begin reviewing this case?
I was assigned the case on a Monday afternoon. My boss called me, the chief medical examiner, about 4:15 in the afternoon on February 3rd.
Yeah, the drink in the chat with the it looks like there's a plant in it. That is a Navy grog. Yeah, these right here, these are Navy grogs. This is something we had to look up live, and it's more of a fancy type of drink. You can kind of see it there when I blow it up. But that was Phil Spector's drink of choice when he would go to these like fancier restaurants or any restaurant. He'd ask for a Navy grog.
And noted that I would be assigned this case, 03937, and the decedent was unknown actually at that time, but he wanted me to go to the death scene. That's the first time I heard of the case and given that number.
Is it uncommon for you to go to, or is it part of the course and scope of your job to go to a death scene if it's required?
It's very uncommon.
All right. Did you go to the death scene in this particular case?
Yes.
And where was that? Was that at 1700 Grandview?
Yes, it was.
All right. About what time did you get there?
It was about 5:35 in the afternoon on a Monday, February 3rd, 2003.
Did you review the scene?
Yes.
And did you review Lana Clarkson's body as she lay where she was found?
Yes.
Why were you asked, or I guess I should rephrase that, why did you actually go to the crime scene or to the death scene?
Well, from my experience, it serves a couple of purposes. One is you're going to see the body at 2 different points in time. Actually, the day that I went on that Monday, February 3rd, in the evening, and once the scene was cleared, I was asked to go ahead and go into there's a foyer in the back of a home, basically. But again, you can see the body at 2 different points of time. I'm going to see her actually at the moment there when she's sitting in the chair. I can assess her, get an overall general assessment at that time. And the second time I'm going to see her, of course, is the following day when I do the autopsy. And a second important point that I've learned from experience is you remember the case a heck of a lot better when you go to the scene. I don't know what it is, but from my experience with the few I have gone to, you do remember it a lot better, and you're more apt to pay attention to things. The other thing is that you hear firsthand when you're there, the detectives will come to you and tell you the local circumstances. They'll give you their impressions of what happened, what's going on. Here's what we heard, here's what someone may have said. And that's important, and so I factor all those in at that time.
Did you perform any procedure? Well, let me back up for just a second. I assume from your answer that this was not the first scene that you had actually gone out to, correct?
No.
Okay, so it had happened before?
Yes.
It's just relatively rare, I assume.
That's correct.
All right. The fact that you went to 1700 Grandview, Doctor.
I love this fucking thing, dude.
Does that mean that
I can't even handle
the
it.
facts and circumstances of this particular case do, in fact, stand out in your mind more than some of the other 3,300 autopsies that you performed in your career?
Yes.
Did you perform any procedures, Doctor, on Lana Clarkson at the location 1700 Grandview?
No.
Did you review her body?
Yes.
In other words, I think in medical terms, grossly look at her body, grossly review it, meaning visually.
Yes.
Okay. Did that assist you in ultimately making findings and opinions and conclusions in this case?
Actually, it did, yes.
Okay. At some point, Doctor, was the body of Lana Clarkson moved back to the coroner's office?
Yes.
And how was that facilitated?
That was done through our investigator coroner, Barbara Nelson, who was assigned that case that day. We had a coroner criminalist and toxicologist, Ms. Jamie Lintemoot, Lintemoot. Also present was the senior criminalist, Dan Anderson. And through their assistance, the body's moved onto plastic, from the chair onto a plastic tarp, and put onto a coroner van with the assistance of one of our technologists who brought the van in. And the body, that only body, was placed in the van and back to the coroner's office on that evening.
Because of the wounds, and we'll talk in much more detail in just a second about the wounds that you saw on Miss Clarkson, because of the wounds that she had suffered to her head, was her head wrapped before she was moved?
Yes, I recall that with like a towel they had put over her face.
Okay, and that is relatively, I'm assuming, standard procedure to kind of stem the flow of blood that may be a result of moving the body.
Yes.
All right. Ultimately, when she was taken to the coroner's office, do you remember if she was laid on the coroner's table in her clothing?
Yes.
And that would be standard procedure, correct?
Yes, it would.
She was photographed in that position, correct?
Yes.
And you remember she was laying on her left side, is that right?
That's correct.
When the towel was taken from her head, was there blood flow that
Yeah.
emanated from her body onto the table
Yes, there was.
and onto her clothing
That's correct.
and onto her left side?
Yes.
So eventually, doctor, she was ultimately laying in what could reasonably be described as a sort of a pool of blood or blood that was pooling on her left side?
Yes.
Was there also, or would you expect that there would also be tissue flow from her wounds from the head area?
Yes.
So, and along with blood, there might be spinal fluid or brain matter or brain fluid as well.
Depending on the location of the weapon, in this case, generally I expect maybe oral cavity and back of the throat type tissue to come out, along with blood mainly.
All right. On February 4th, 2003, at about 10:30 in the morning, did you perform an autopsy on Miss Lana Clarkson?
Yes.
Was that under coroner's case number 2003-00937?
Yes.
And I'll ask this for foundational reasons, doctor. Once you performed the autopsy, did you prepare a protocol or an autopsy report?
Yes, I did.
And does that autopsy report and all its associated paperwork bear the same unique coroner's case number?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Who was in attendance, if you recall, at the autopsy, when you performed the autopsy on Miss Lana Clarkson?
There are two LA Sheriff detectives, Detective Paul Fournier. Do you need me to spell that? Okay, Detective Richard Tomlin, Dr. Michael Bodden from New York, Investigator Barbara Nelson, and the coroner criminalist toxicologist Miss Jamie Lintemuth, and the technician Mr. Richard Grahalva, Grajalva, was also assisting me during the autopsy. And I'm sorry, one of the senior doctors assisted me and was there the whole time, Dr. William Sherry, Sherry.
You indicated Dr. Michael Bodden was one of the people who were there, or who was there at the time that you performed the autopsy. Was that a courtesy that you extended because somebody from the defense had asked if he could attend the autopsy?
I believe so, yes.
All right. He didn't perform any work on the autopsy?
No.
He simply watched as you performed the work?
That's correct.
You indicated that there were two investigators at the autopsy as well, correct?
Yes.
Is that standard operating procedure to have the investigative agency represented at an autopsy like this?
On homicides it is, yes.
Take a look, if you will. I'm going to ask that we mark as people's next in order. Just a second before you put it up. This is an 8.5 by 11 sheet.
It's 42.
It's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I'll have an enlargement placed on the overhead. I'd like this to be marked as People's 42, and it bears 3 photographs. They appear to be autopsy photographs, 2 of Miss Clarkson's head, 1 of her mouth and tooth area. Doctor, do you recognize what's depicted in photograph A, B, and C of People's 42?
Yes.
How do you recognize those photographs?
Well, I recall Miss Lana Clarkson, number 1, and number 2 that has the coroner's case number. You'll see the blue 3-inch ruler with the coroner's case number and the date that photograph in particular is taken, and they're labeled A, B, and C.
Doctor, in drawing your attention to photograph A, it appears that, in fact, there is a blue ruler there. Is that indicative of a coroner's photograph?
Yes.
Where was that photograph taken?
That one there would have been taken at the autopsy suite at the coroner's office.
Taking a look at photograph B, as in boy, That appears to be of Miss Clarkson as well. However, there is a distinct difference between photograph A and photograph B. Could you explain that for the jurors, please?
What you see in photograph B, Miss Clarkson has been washed off after all her clothing has been removed, and all, of course, evidentiary items that we had seen at the scene prior, everything. Now we can go ahead and wash the body. Now you have a photograph of her face, actually, that you see now in picture B.
Taking a look back at photograph A, Doctor, you indicated earlier in your testimony that Miss Clarkson was on her left side and that she was bleeding somewhat after the towel was removed from her head. Is this photograph indicative of that state? In other words, after she was placed on the gurney and after the towel was removed and some substantial bleeding going on her left side?
Yes.
All right. And you see the blood pooling under her head and appears to be her left shoulder, correct?
Yes.
Is that indicative of the blood and tissue material that would have flowed from her head wound onto her left side at the coroner's office?
Yes, it is.
Taking a look at photograph C, Doctor, can you describe for the jurors what they're looking at, please?
Yes, photograph C is, that was taken the day after I did the autopsy on February 5th, 2003. A dentist came down and assisted me with that, and that's what you see, those little plastic retractors on both sides of her mouth. We're just exposing the view so you can see the two upper front teeth that were actually fractured because of the injury she sustained. And the two upper front teeth, called these central incisors, are fractured. And a little portion of the left, what's called lateral incisor of that tooth, is also broken off just a little bit. But that's what that's showing mainly.
And those tools utilized by the coroner's office to spread the lips, that is a normal tool used to show substantial mouth wounds or mouth injuries?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and take that off for me, Sue. Doctor, did you reach any findings? I don't want to get to your ultimate conclusions at this point.
Baby Alan Jackson.
I want to direct your attention very narrowly to findings regarding any wounds that Miss Clarkson suffered.
Yes.
Okay, what wounds did you find, or wound did you
Check
find?
on
in Miss
old Phil.
Clarkson?
As you can see, he's sitting right here. You can't get a good look at his face, though. Let's just... Oh, God, yep, he's still there. Ghoul Phil Spector, live shot at all times. Worked this out through time and space to get this shot, of course, because this is from 2007, but it worked out. That is a live shot, only brought to you by Murder Church through time and space. Ghoul Phil Spector, right there.
Had suffered.
Do you want me to start with the head first? I'm sorry, the mouth wound, or?
Was it a stab wound, a gunshot wound? What was this?
I'll start. Okay, it was Miss Clarkson received a gunshot wound to her oral cavity or the mouth.
Ultimately, was this a fatal wound?
Yes.
Did the bullet pass through her oral cavity and into other areas of her body?
Yes, it did.
Could you describe where it passed through and where it came to rest?
Yes.
Go ahead,
Oh,
folks.
I'm sorry. If you look at my index finger, I'm going to put my finger in counsel in my mouth, like this. But just for the sake to keep it simple, the weapon's in the mouth. It was discharged. The bullet then nicked the top of the tongue and lacerated the tongue, causing hemorrhage to occur. So it splits the top part of your tongue, as I'm demonstrating on myself. Top part of the tongue split. And there's some depth to that, maybe a little over a quarter of an inch in depth, which is significant. And the bullet continued in a front to back direction. I'll use this on myself in a minute to get you oriented with direction in a bit. It then continued backward to the back of the throat, literally to the back, and went through the, of course, again, the back of the throat. It hit eventually the spinal column or the neck bone. And in the process of doing that, it broke the neck bone. We have 7 of those neck bones connected together. But these are the top 2 neck bones that were fractured. It's very high up in that area. That's what's called the spinal cord. That's, if you look at my fingers, I'm going to make a little hole for you here. Here's, let's say, the spinal column. That's a soft, rubbery type of tissue that connects directly to our brain, where all the messages are sent so we can act, move, do our normal routines. Well, it's way high up. That bullet, as it broke the bone, it went through that spinal cord. And
Jersey Jen says she wants another spin right now. Thank you so much. Oh, I've never seen the stash. It's a cool little stash there. Hell yeah. Jersey Jen coming in hot. 149 right there. I think that makes it even. I think we're 6 away right now from a spin. Hell yes. Jersey Jen coming through the 149. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Boom. Right there on the list. Yeah, I think we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Halfway there. Tara and Dusty said, don't forget about me. And Jessica for Justice. Hell yeah. Got that thing. Tara and Dusty once on this wheel. Yeah, she's not on this one. Former 2-time winner, Tara and Dusty. She has quite the luck, quite the winning streak. I hope you buy a lottery ticket. Thank you so much for that gifted membership. And Jessica Justice, welcome in here. And Jessica, if you haven't seen some of the new videos that I've been doing, I need to get some more up there. Maybe this weekend I'll go and try to get something else filmed and do a little trip. I've been going and doing some cool little things. And yeah, go check out those videos that are only for the members. Hell yeah. So yeah, did I put her on there? I believe so. I believe that makes us 5 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 away, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything in the old email. I think I'm caught up. Oh yeah, and yeah, Kasha, just give me an email about your size and Addie, and we'll get that shirt on the way as well. Bonnie Bailey coming through here with another $2 holler. Thank you so much, Bonnie. Absolutely amazing. Bonnie, also former winner, and I'm still trying to get a shirt to her. And I got your email back, Bonnie, and yeah, I'm going to send you a picture of exactly what it looked like and how it went out and how I'll put the address on there, and I just want your opinion if you think that looks good. Because my writing is sort of shit, but I also, when I send something out like that, I try to write pretty decently. I'm not just like scrapping it on there, so. But thank you so much for a $2 holla. What are we doing out here? Huh? What are we doing?
I'm telling you like it is.
Not messing around, baby.
But let me tell you something. I love weed, okay? I love
Hit the wrong button, but we'll let it go.
But not as much as I love pussy.
That was from a movie party night, if no one is familiar, when we watched Half Baked with Jay. Hell yeah. Thank you so much, Bonnie. I think we're, 4 names away now from a spin. Hell yeah. Thank you all so much.
Tore it apart, causing a massive ragged laceration effect, of course bleeding to occur. And keep in mind, when that occurs, that cord is completely severed, so there's no connection now with the brain anymore. The brain is now separated with a little tiny piece of cord remaining with it. Then you got the rest of the cord, of course, running down, of course, to our back. So the cord, is completely severed or torn apart. What the bullet then did next, it continued in a slightly upward direction, hit what's called the base of the skull. So I want you to look at myself, and counsel, I'll turn sideways also, just for a second. If you look at myself right about here, it's hard to show that anatomic figure, but the bullet continued right there upward, goes into the base of the skull, doesn't hit brain tissue, but more importantly, there's a little tissue that goes around the brain called the dura, D-U-R-A. It's a protective little barrier around our brain, and it went through there and tore that, causing bleeding at that time to occur around the brain. So the bullet fractured the base of the skull, though, as it entered, and it shattered.
Oh, gotcha. There we go. Semi-sharp on the wheel.
A number of areas of the base of her skull to fracture, okay? And the bullet kept going back and finally slowed down and lodged. And again, I'll point to myself on my head, right about here on the back of my head, called the occiput, O-C-C-I-P-U-T. Those are just anatomic terms for saying the back of the head, real simple. So counsel, if you look again, here's about where I got the bullet from. It never came out, it stayed lodged and just kind of put a little protuberance outward, a little hole defect through the skull bone.
Wow.
So again, a front to back, direction slightly upward, and I'll leave it at that for now. So this is an immediate incapacitation wound given the location.
$2 holler from Jen Del Rio getting on there. Hell yes.
There might be a few little
up at her
impulses
chances
going down the chest cavity.
On there twice now.
The nerve to connect down this way to the heart, for instance, and to the lungs.
3 away.
She may have taken perhaps at best one really shallow breath, if at best, which would account for some of the blood aspiration that I did see. She will not be able to exhale. She won't be able to talk. She won't be able to cough, give any motion. She'll lose consciousness immediately. What's called spinal shock because of the location of that injury. And let's see what else I can tell you. Pretty much those are the basic findings. She also had upward now, if you can picture, there's still a little residual blood flow going up to the brain, just maybe a few seconds more. Blood will cause the brain to swell, which we saw, and more bleeding around there a little bit that we saw also when the neuropathologist examined the brain.
Shit.
So put this in combination, the death clearly, in my opinion, was a gunshot
Everyone's chanting Will now, baby.
head and neck that caused Ms. Clarkson to die immediately.
So, doctor, when you say gunshot wound to the head and neck, you're including the injuries to the spinal column or the neck bones that the bullet caused, then passing through that spinal column onto the back of the head, causing injury to the back of the head at or around the brain area, the base of the brain area, correct?
Or actually the base of the skull, which fractured.
I'm sorry, at the base of the skull area. All right.
Yes.
Sarah,
Take a look.
Pammy.
You were asking for an
I think we're one away.
figure. This is simply a transparency of, first of all, I should establish the foundation for it. Do you recognize what this transparency is from?
Yes.
What is that from?
There it is.
This is done well after I did
Boom.
the autopsy.
We got a spin,
I
baby.
remember the
Thank you,
year,
Jessica.
But it was before I testified for the grand jury. I was asked by Mr. Doug Sortino.
Boom. We got a spin.
Make a
Oh, shit. We already started another wheel.
of the
That's how it
direction of
happens.
fire, basically, through the tissue. That's what this is demonstrating, and where the bullet ends up. So that's what the little arrows are that you see on the screen. I don't have a pointer I could show them.
I don't either. I think we went to see if we can find one.
You may.
Wow. Kitty C, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
And for the
Starting the new wheel.
and the this little dotted area here.
Gin,
that's what
Jersey
I agreed
Gin.
with Mr. Sortino
Start,
for the
it's
grand
number
jury.
2 on the new wheel.
And that's
Thank
what
you
that's
so much.
indicating.
Jersey Gin's on fire tonight.
Again, going through the mouth, hits the base, probably right about here, the neck area, probably around there.
Wow.
Again, the base of the skull causing the fractures, and here's where I get the bullet out.
Go ahead and start that wheel, guys.
You indicated that there is a substantial amount of bone surrounding the spinal cord, correct?
Yes.
All right. So the bullet first made contact with, I guess, flesh. After it nicked the tongue, it first made contact with flesh toward the back of the throat.
Missy, thank you for
somewhere
that
along
chair.
here, correct?
Taryn Dusty, thank you for that chair.
It passed through the back of the throat to
On
the
X.
soft palate. Am I correct?
Yes.
And then it made contact with hard bone material, in other words, the very top of the vertebrae that's surrounding and protecting that spinal cord, correct?
Yes.
And that would have been about where my pen is pointing, correct?
Just about, that's right.
All right. Then the bullet passed through that bone material.
You started the new
onto
wheel,
base
Kitty.
of the
You
skull
started the new
and
wheel.
lodged itself at the very point where you ended this kind of diagram, at the base of the skull, correct?
Yes.
Is it conceivable, or have you in your experience seen bullets change direction or trajectory once it makes contact with, or once they make contact with hard material, to wit, or for example, spinal bone?
Yes, any hard bone bullets can change.
And Bassett Page, I think that's you that just came through and bought the Kool-Aid drink, the Colt Murder coffee cup. It's a lot to say. Thank you so much. I'm going to start a new wheel. This is insanity.
For a short
Hell on
time,
fire.
travel
What's
in
happening?
Up or down, or
Why don't you do,
whatever
folks, jump to
direction
the
it decides to
Discord?
go.
All right, so in
Let's
this particular
go.
case, although the trajectory appears to be relatively consistent from front to back, the bullet could have changed direction slightly once it made contact with the bone area here, correct?
It could have, yes.
You mentioned a mouthful when you were explaining what your basic findings were anatomically. I want to kind of break that down and ask you a couple of specific questions. You talked about the tongue area and the fact that the bullet first grazed the dorsum, or the top of the tongue. Is that right?
Yes.
What kind
The
of
dorsum. I'm using that one in the future.
injury did you note
For tongue?
that indicated to you anatomically that the bullet had actually grazed?
You stick
the
your
top of the
dorsum out at me.
There was a stellate, or like a starburst type of appearance on the top of that tongue.
Let's go to that. When you say stellate, describe for us, and by the way, do you recognize what's, Your Honor, I got ahead of myself. I'd like to go ahead and mark, with the court's permission, the transparency first as People's 43.
So marked.
And then we'll mark this coroner's diagram, People's 44, with the court's permission.
So marked.
Yo, Gabby, get in here. We're having a wild one tonight for a Tuesday.
44. The diagram that is up now,
Love having you here, Kitty C.
that is 44. 43 was the transparency of the head.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I got ahead of myself.
It's all right.
When you say a stellate injury, I think of the word stellar. What does the word stellate mean?
Oh, just think of it like a starburst, like a starfish, kind of he got, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it. Like, you know when you have a cookie cutter and you're making, they have different shapes, but you can make round ones. I don't know if you've ever seen any stellate, you know what I'm trying to say, like a starfish.
Okay, so in other words, it's not a perfect hole.
Right.
In other words, as it grazed the top of the tongue, as the bullet grazed the top of the tongue, it sort of, I don't want to be too graphic, but it sort of split the flesh, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and it split it ununiformly.
Yes.
So as you look at it, it looks like a star.
Correct.
Okay, is that a classic example of a stellate injury?
Yes, it is.
And did you see that sort of injury at the top of the tongue?
Yes, I did.
Could you point to the juror? Well, let's familiarize the jurors with this diagram a little bit. This has been marked as People's 44. What is this that we're looking at, Doctor?
Okay, this is a diagram. You can see that number 24. This is the autopsy date I did it on, which is February 4th, 2003.
Now, I'm going to interrupt you for just a second, Dr. Pena. You said it's a number 24. See in the upper left-hand corner where it's pre-marked 24?
Yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
That's correct.
There's a couple of numbers we're dealing with. This has been marked for evidence, for identification rather, as People's 44, but you're referring to a document that the coroner's office designates as a 24, correct?
That's correct.
Are there pre-made documents that the coroner's office here in Los Angeles uses to assist you in diagramming your findings at an autopsy?
Ready to rock.
So you might have something called a 20. You know what that is?
Yes.
And a 20, we might see one of those before this is all said and done. That's a pre-designated form that's an anatomically correct figure standing full body, correct?
Yes.
Front and back, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then you can mark
Again,
on
welcome
there,
in.
Injuries and findings during the course of your autopsy, correct?
Yes.
Now, the 24 is dedicated
Yo,
to the
Kraken
head
Studio.
and neck
Missed you coming in.
area,
What's up?
and specifically shows a tongue that's been removed in bank, correct?
Yes.
And what does in bank mean?
I don't know.
Totally?
Totally.
All right. No. So in other words, when you, thank you, when you take a look at the, and you're doing an autopsy on a decedent, and you look at the tongue, you don't simply cut the tongue out. I can't talk and do it at the same time. Here.
No.
Correct? The tongue actually is a muscle that goes all the way down the throat, correct?
It really is.
Taking a look at People's 44 for
It's a little bit of a
identification,
wordsmith, a word magician, word
Two
wizard.
diagrams on the lower right-hand side showing the left and right of something that looks very foreign and alien to us. What are we looking at?
Okay, basically, if you look, pretend you're looking at the top of the body, looking down on someone from the, let's say the top of the head. And what you're going to see, imagine you're looking through their head, looking through their mouth, and now you're going to see the tongue. This is the left side of the tongue, so you can picture it on yourself, actually. Left side of the tongue, this is the right side of the tongue, this is the front. So if you were to stick your tongue out right now, you'd just be going basically like I'm showing you right now, sticking the tongue out.
You tell this dude's
And that's
insanely
how
smart,
anatomically
too.
looking at
Well,
that
obviously,
figure,
he's a doctor,
which is,
but-
again, the People's 44.
Correct.
But you know what I mean?
And
Like
this is the back
stupid
of the throat
smart.
area here. And this starts your voice box area right in here, which leads to what's called the trachea, or this is how we get our air in. And you can't see it in there, but we also have what's called the
Jen's ready, baby.
Eat food.
Let me get a nice little break spot here.
That's what basically
Should be
that's
long.
depicting, but it's all kind of
Too
splayed
much.
open.
Still got 30 minutes or so
for purposes of
left. See how much
diagramming
longer
for
Alan
injuries.
Jackson
And that's
rocks.
what this is, the anatomic reason for that being.
Okay, and when you remove the tongue, you remove it in block, the entire tongue comes out, correct?
Yes.
All right. Taking a look at the bottom right
Yo,
two
Dave. What's up, brother?
diagrams.
Get in here, man.
These down here on the right. What are those looking at?
Those are just
What are we looking at? I should
I'm
say.
sorry. Those are just profiles of the tongue shown in a right profile.
And you know what I meant,
which would
too.
be this one. If you look to my side to the right, you can see this, these are salivary glands, these little circles. And if you look down over here, this is a little bone we all have. This is your voice box area, and these are strap muscles that hold everything together.
No, that is
That's the
true.
idea there.
That is
This
true.
is the left profile now, if you're to look at a left view of your own tongue, and that's all that's showing.
All right. I note that there are some substantial notations on the top view of the tongue. What are you denoting
We're getting that wheel going,
on
baby.
that top view?
We're ready.
Basically, again, on People's 44,
Give me one
this
second.
is the stellate I referred to in my description.
Let's get out of the
This
tongue
part of the
talk.
gunshot wound when it
Tongue talk.
hit this area or nicked it. I give a measurement there in 3 dimensions. When I do 3-dimension measurements for you, it's important because it tells you there's depth to that wound. So that's quite important. And I indicate that on the tongue. Then as you go further back, you're going to see some little focal. Focal just means in a unique area, but they're clustered together. But what's interesting about these bruises here, right at the back of the throat, they're still by the tongue, is that I give an area, not a depth. That means that these are superficial. There's a reason for that, and I'll explain in a second, but they stay superficial, and that is real close to the area where you're going to start to swallow, and of course take air in. So you're oriented anatomically. And then to the left, there was this unique lesion off to the left side and left top and side of the tongue, and that had 3 measurements to it. I believe that's 1 by 1/2, but I can't see too well, by 1/2 inch if I'm reading it right. And I described the color, which is purple. That's
I mean, they look like aliens. These are tongues. This is the tongues. They look like cobras, right?
fine. And that was a bloody area, but that's all blood. It looked like actually a bruise, but it's all on one side of the tongue. All right? And that's what I'm describing, the 3 most, those are the only 3 that I saw.
All right. So there was bruising associated with that stellate nicking injury, correct?
Yes.
But you also saw bruising in a separate area of the tongue, the left side of the tongue.
Yes.
And that's what you're indicating right there, correct?
Yes.
All right. With regard to that bruise on the stellate portion of the injury, can you describe what you believe, or can you attribute that bruise to the bullet passing over and nicking the tongue?
Yes, it's in the same tracks. In other words, these little focal areas of bruising, remember the superficial ones without the depth to them? That's what I'm pointing to now.
I mean, they look like freaking cobras.
And probably what happened.
Oh yeah, they do look a little bit more xenomorphs from Alien, right?
Medical opinion. He's offering an opinion.
Alien's one of my favorite. I'm going to say that. I love so many movies, but it's fucking good, man.
I'm sorry, it struck the spinal column, the bone, and the bullet starts to break up. So some of the lead components of the bullet might have come back. And I did recover one in the trachea or esophagus. I couldn't remember where it was actually, but that's probably could explain why these are bruised up here a little bit. That's one of the explanations I thought of that could explain that. But again, it's very superficial.
Look at that. That's a cobra. If they were just like, oh, what are we looking at? And they're like, for $1 million, they're like, fucking cobra, bro.
It may make it a little bit easier to read.
Great.
They'd be like, yo, you okay?
So in summary, the bruising that you saw associated with that stellate nick is associated with the same incident. In other words, the mechanics are the same. The bullet passed over the tongue, nicked the tongue, and split it and bruised it at the same time.
Yes.
I want to draw your attention to the bruise on the left. Were you able to make a determination as to the mechanism of the bruising on the left?
No.
Were you able to make a determination in your mind as to, or have you since been asked to make a
do you know how big the freaking tongue is, sir? Let me show you a graphic real quick.
determination in your mind as to
Ember
what
Burns,
caused-
holy shit. Ember Burns, okay, holy shit. Holy shit, Ember Burns. Oh my God, I'm going to do it again. This is the greatest thing I've ever, this is so fucking cool. This is one of the coolest things I've ever received in my life. Handmade by Ember Burns in the chat right now. Look at this. Look at the smoke. Look at the smoke. What the fuck? Look at the probably nothing hanging out in there. It's fucking gorgeous. It has a weight to it. Fuck. This is one of the coolest things I've ever gotten in my life, Ember Burns. So freaking cool. You're so talented, man. Unbelievable levels of talent right there. That's craziness. It looks so freaking good. Again, thank you so much. I'm glad you came in here. I wanted to tell you that. Wow. While we got to pause, let's do a wheel spin real quick, folks. Let's get in there. Let's get a wheel spin. Let's give away a shirt right now while Alan Jackson is hanging and banging with us, huh?
Hanging and banging.
Get the cam. Where's that? Boom. Let's go. Pammy, getting that one. Hell yeah, Pammy. Get that son of a bitch. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Pammy, getting a shirt. Get in there. Let me know what you want. I'm going to put you on here so I don't forget real freaking quick. Hell yes. Love that, Pammy. Pammy is one of the most generous donators. Always coming through the Cash App with such generous donations. Thank you so much. And let me get you, Pammy right here in the winning circle. Fuck, yeah. We continue to fill this up. It's been an insane week for the wheel, actually. Yeah, wow. Wow. Okay, Pammy. Absolutely insane. Making sure we're caught up where we're at. Insane. Everybody in here tonight, thank y'all so much. Thank you so much. We have a good show. We have a crazy show. I'm really proud of Murder Church, Publicly Buzzed, and what we've grown. The Buzz Nation can't do it and cannot do it without thanking Jay, the fucking man, Bob Mata. I got a lot of really cool friends in true crime and everyone in the fucking chat right now that makes this pop and happen and coming, hanging, and banging every Sunday, coming through for Feral Fridays. Dan as well, man. Like, I couldn't be happier. This is so cool. So cool, man. All right, let's keep rocking and rolling here, everybody. And Pammy, congratulations, girl.
Cause that bruise on the left, or if it's part and parcel of the bullet nicking the tongue.
Overruled. You may answer.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
A couple of weeks ago, I was asked by the prosecution, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Ocampo, to review that bruise to the left as to the mechanism or what could have caused that bruise to occur.
Hell yeah.
At the time of the years have gone by, I have no idea. I didn't know. So I was asked to review my report, photos, and perhaps get a second opinion from my colleagues at work, particularly the doctor, who, of course, who helped me with the autopsy. And so in the interim, I went and sought those people out, and one of the chief medical examiners I talked to about the case and reviewed it. They opined.
Objection. Hearsay.
I'm trying to, well, it's not going to work. Like, opined. I'm trying to get opined in my vocabulary when I'm talking about somebody, talking about something, but it's hard. That's a weird word. It's a weird word to say anyways.
I'm going to sustain the objection unless it's simply...
Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, opine. I'm trying to get that in my regular everyday speech.
Or give a limiting instruction to the jurors. I don't know what you're using it for.
I'll establish
Using
that
my
foundation.
boss. If you would like to opine a bit further,
what
that would be good.
your conversation with Dr. Sherry or your colleagues consisted of, ultimately following that conversation. Well, let me ask it this way. Did I ask you to review photographs?
Yes.
Notes?
Yes.
Your autopsy report?
Yes.
Did you make specific notes about this particular area of the body? In other words, the tongue area of the body?
Oh, yes.
And those notes are relatively detailed, correct?
Correct.
As a matter of fact, you even indicated on the left portion of the bruising area, you indicated some very specific size measurements, correct?
Yes.
And you took photographs of this area as well, correct?
Yes.
And those photographs are in color?
Yes.
And you've reviewed those photographs since then?
That's correct.
And the purpose for making these photographs or creating this photographic documentation of an autopsy is so, if you're asked to, by either prosecution, defense, the court, anybody, to go back and take another look at certain elements of an autopsy, you can do that with some confidence because they've been photographed. You've noted the time of the injury. You've noted the size of the injury and your notes and conclusions regarding that injury, correct?
Yes.
Now, up until 2 weeks ago, were you ever asked specifically what the mechanism of that bruise on the left was?
No.
Okay. Once I asked you to take another look at that bruise on the left, did you go back and review all of those things that we've talked about?
Yes.
And ultimately, based on your review of all of those things as well as discussions with your colleagues, were you able to make or come to an opinion or reach a conclusion about that bruise?
Yes.
Okay. What did the conversation with you and your colleagues consist of?
Well, very simply, it was very short, but basically that bruise is very unique. It stands out, and the conclusion is blunt force trauma that it's consistent, I should say, consistent with blunt force trauma. Blunt meaning in an abrupt manner, something either struck the tongue or the tongue might have struck another object.
Doctor, is what you're telling the jurors, in your expert opinion, that bruise on the left did not come from the bullet passing over the middle of the tongue. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That bruise occurred at some point different.
That's correct.
Did it occur, in your opinion, before or after the shot was fired?
Would have been before.
How do you know that?
Well, blood would be flowing, and it's a very dark purple color, which indicates blood flow. So it's clearly before death, in my opinion.
And blood would continue to flow to that bruising area, or it would... Well, let me ask you this, first of all. When I bang my head on...
Ladies and gentlemen, Shiraz is a fucking genie. Did you just see what happened in the chat? Did you just see what happened? Ember Burns, the amazing Ember Burns comes through. I want my PB emojis back, and she actually gave perfect ones, because if anybody knows, they know about this guy, the guy on the end there. If they know, they know. They know that a lot of people think that may be a mini tornado, but if you look a little bit closer, the fire and then the blowing of the smoke, but then the genie herself, Shiraz, pops through the door, kicks it in actually, kicks that motherfucker in and says, Ember Burns, you have been gifted a membership. Holy crap. I'm about to lose it here. That was nuts. Thank you so much, Shiraz. Appreciate that. And welcome in here. Welcome in here. Wow. You guys are too freaking nice. Too freaking nice. Woo. Woo. The email is publiclybuzzed@gmail.com. Send it up.
Or bang my hand on whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm working out in the garage and I smash my hand with a hammer. I immediately see some bruising start to happen, correct?
Yes.
Oh yeah, let me get you on the wheel here, Shiraz.
Mechanism of blood simply flowing to that area?
Basically, what's happened is yourself or whoever has damaged the underlying blood vessels, and they actually break.
Okay.
And that's what causes the bruise.
All right. And the bruising continues as blood flows to that area. Is that right?
Well, you can get larger. That's called swelling.
Okay.
But yes.
All right. You've indicated that this particular blunt force trauma, or this bruise, was caused before the shot was fired, because Ms. Clarkson would have been immediately dead, basically, once the shot was fired, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell how long before the shot was fired did this bruise occur?
No, I can't. Yeah, I can only tell you it's recent.
Okay. Recent meaning within a few minutes or a few hours?
Perhaps, yes.
Okay, so it could be as close as a few minutes or a few seconds before the fatal shot was fired?
Yes.
All right. You said that it's consistent with blunt force trauma. Is that right?
Yes.
For example, if the barrel of a gun, a steel weapon, was placed into the mouth with some force, could that have been the mechanism of that bruising on the left? Could that have caused the barrel of a gun?
Yes.
I want to go back to what's been previously marked as People's 42, I believe. And I want to draw your attention to photograph B of People's 42, if we could, please. Can we highlight just B? Taking a look at People's 42B, you see Ms. Clarkson after she has been cleaned up, basically.
Yes.
Washed. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. One of the things that I want to draw your attention to, Doctor, and ask you a little bit about, when you were explaining to the jurors your initial findings concerning that gunshot wound, that interoral gunshot wound, one of the things that you did demonstratively, Doctor, was you actually put your finger in, or your fingers in a position of what's reasonably described as a gun or a pistol, correct? The forefinger extended, the thumb straight up, correct?
Yes.
When you were explaining to the jurors how the shot was fired, you actually put your finger inside your mouth, as I just did, correct?
Yes.
Oh shit! No, I missed that. My bad, Maybeto. Sorry about that. Yes, let me get you on here. I saw your message and I was like, my bad. Gifted out a membership, and I missed who got that thing.
Did you put your finger inside your mouth as opposed to
I can't go back
outside
up
of
that
your
far.
mouth?
Whoever got that, welcome the hell in here.
The
Wow.
autopsy finding is this
Yeah, Beto,
weapon
thank you
was
so
in
much.
the mouth and not outside.
Sorry about that.
When you say clearly from the autopsy findings, I want to draw your attention to something and have you explain to it what stippling and sooting means.
When a weapon is discharged, there's a combustion effect to move the bullet down the barrel and out the muzzle. And that's caused by the gunpowder. There's a primer, of course, that starts the whole event, which I won't get into. I'm not a ballistics expert. I'm just very simple and basic.
Bob, dude, thanks for sending everybody over, brother. It's been a crazy night over here.
Barrel and out the muzzle, and it's burning, basically, the powder. That's how you're getting the energy. So if you just see this all in slow motion, you see a lot of powder.
That's crazy
as
tonight.
it comes right out the muzzle, like an explosion, perhaps, and a lot of powder or dust. It's very similar to when you have a chimney, you're using it, you get the sooting, the same concept. You're combusting your paper, or hopefully not paper, but wood, and you get the nice dark of the black charring effect. Or the,
Can you
or the
see?
burn material.
Keeping it
Same
rolling,
thing here with
baby.
The bullet.
Filling up a
But
third
the key
wheel?
is, depending on the distance that weapon is held from the muzzle to the target. So if it's closer it is, you're going to get that blackish, grayish debris deposited on no matter where it is, the skin, the mouth, the head, etc. And that's called sooting. That
Wow.
deposition.
Yes,
That
sir,
could
it
be
did.
anywhere from-
Yeah. Had a nice Defense Diaries raid come through here, man. Thank you so much, dude. Bob, let me show you this. Everybody, I know I've been showing this thing off, and I'm going to keep freaking out about it. Check this out. Ember Burns sent this to me. Are you ready? This is crazy. This is the craziest gift we've ever been sent. What? Dude, it's got a face on it. Look at that, bro. Look at that. Smoke. Dude, I've been showing this thing off. Ember Burns, insane. Absolutely insane. Had to turn the green screen off for a second to get that to work. Dude, wow.
Contact, as I'm demonstrating on myself, a contact wound to near contact. In counsel, of course, you can see as that maybe at an angle or whatever, but it's
Dude,
close.
it's crazy.
To loose
It's freaking
contact where
crazy.
It's kind of like hanging out here as I'm demonstrating. So that can be anywhere from
Oh,
to
I
the
like
skin,
that,
touching
CH.
it, to
It's got a
perhaps maybe
name.
several inches away. It has to be test fired to get the specific distance. That's called sooting again. It's a black, grayish debris. And your lab experts will identify that and relay that information to you. The other thing Mr. Jackson referred to is stippling. That weapon is held a little further away now. So instead of being close range, it's called now intermediate range. And that could be anywhere from my experience in the lab testing that we have here in LA County, maybe a ½ inch, this can vary, up to maybe a couple feet or even more. Depends on the powder, the weapon, etc. So again, you're talking about a range like this, and that's again called stippling. That looks like pinpoint red uniform lesions. They're very similar, every single lesion. And if you've been to a dartboard at a pool hall, they have dartboard games. You ever played it? It looks like that all around the dartboard, very pinpoint and very all the same size. And that's what stippling basically is. So it's basically burned and unburned powder that's hitting
It's a good one,
the skin,
too.
but it's
That's a good
further
name,
distance
too.
away. And that's the idea of sooting and stippling.
When you look at sooting and stippling, and you're trained to look for that in gunshot wound victims, correct?
Yes.
All right. When you're looking at sooting and stippling, can that give you an idea of the position, the relative position of the barrel of a gun to the flesh of the victim that you're performing the autopsy on?
Yes.
All right. Given the fact that, and Sooty, if you wouldn't mind, did you see any sooting or stippling on the outside of Miss Clarkson's mouth?
No.
Did that give you any indication as to the relative position of the barrel of the gun? Let's leave the teeth out for a second. Just based on that, did that give you an indication of the relative position of the barrel of the gun
Let me see, Jim.
as to Miss Clarkson's mouth?
Yes.
What indication did that give you?
It would be in the mouth or somewhere.
7 names away from another
in front of the
wheel spin. 7 names.
in front of the, not in front of the teeth, but behind the teeth. I'm sorry,
All right.
but in the mouth.
All right. Did you find any pseudo-stippling in the oral mucosa of Miss Clarkson's mouth?
Yes.
Describe that for us, please.
Pseudo-stippling as opposed to stippling I just described for you refers to the fact that the bullet, or as a result of the bullet combustion and effects, not a direct effect in this case, going through the mouth, as we described earlier, the gun recoils. So when the weapon's discharged, it's just natural. If you ever fired a weapon, you'll know. You actually do this a little bit, you know how steady your hands are, right? But the weapon recoiled and hit the top two front of the teeth that you saw earlier and actually shattered them. She had on there what are called porcelain crowns. She was having her teeth redone. Porcelain's like glass. So it literally shattered. Both those upper two front teeth shattered. And what they did, in my opinion, they shattered and caused little pinpoint lesions and cuts and little tears on her inner part of her mouth and the upper part of her mouth.
Wow.
But they're irregular in size. They aren't pinpoint like stippling is. That's how I knew that that is a result of the recoil effect and not the actual stippling that we normally refer to. But in her case, it's due to the fracturing of the, again, that porcelain crowns that broke.
Suffice it to say, there was a substantial amount of damage done to her mouth.
Yes.
I want to talk to you for a second. You described for the jurors the path of the bullet a little bit earlier. I want to talk to you for a second about that bullet. You indicated that you were able to trace the path of the bullet from basically from the muzzle of the gun being behind her front teeth, over the top of the tongue, through the soft palate, to the spinal cord. To the spinal bones, through the spinal bones, severing the spinal cord, and back to the base of the skull. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you able to find and retrieve the actual bullet?
Yes.
Take a look at what's, I'm sorry, with the court's permission, I'd like to mark as people's 45 the recovered bullet photographs. There's 3 photographs indicated, A, B, and C on people's 45.
All right.
Taking a look at what's been marked as people's 45 for identification, do you recognize what's depicted in photograph C, as in Charlie?
Yes.
What is that?
Okay, this is the base of the copper jacket. It was a medium caliber bullet. The lead part's on the other side, but that gold little area is the copper jacket of the bullet that you see there that I took a photo of.
Take a look at photograph B as in boy. What is that?
Okay, basically here, what I did here is I turned that bullet around. Now you can see the top part of the bullet. That's the lead part. You can see the little fragment off here. That's the copper jacket remaining of that bullet. I just took it in 2 different dimensions, basically.
So, in other words, I'm sorry, I may have missed that. So, that is a fragment.
Coming through the old Cash App here real quick. Take a little break ski here. Wildside with a $5 holler for Tracy K on the wheel. Let me get Tracy's name on there. Thank you so much, Wildside. And I just saw Jen came through there again, getting them going. $5 through the Cash App. Thank you so much, Wildside. Appreciate that. Get your name on there. I think there's some other stuff going on in here. Hold on. What is going on? Oh, shit. Yes. Kathy coming through the old Cash App as well. 420. That's absolutely perfect. Thank you so much. Boom. Coming through. Putting Kathy on that son of a bitch. I think Kathy's won before also. The nice 420. It's a nice number. It looks nice. I have no idea why. I like that number. Thank you so much, Catherine. Wow, we're not even done here. Through the Cash App also, Megan Easton coming the fuck through, saying $10 for Murder Church. Amen. Let's go.
Gun country.
And we don't fuck around.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Wow, Megan Easton getting you on there. Let me get you in here. Boom. Boom. Holy shit. And that's incredibly generous. Thank you so much. Where are we at right now on this wheel? This wheel's going off the charts already. This is a 3rd wheel on a Tuesday? Holy shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're 4 names away right now from another wheel. Holy shit. That was nuts coming through the Cash App also. Holy crap. Wow. And Jen, I've got your email also here. Sweet.
B is a fragment of C.
Wow.
Actually, it's the
Insanity.
same bullet. I'm sorry.
On the
I
opposite
just
side.
turned it around. That's right.
My mistake.
Freaking Bob sent the party
Photograph
over.
A, what is that?
Photograph A is a piece of lead fragment that I retrieved from the base of the skull that just happened to migrate down, or part of the shattering effect. It made its way down into the soft tissue at the base of the skull. I'm sorry.
All right. And did you find any other small fragments anywhere else in Miss Clarkson's body?
I only retrieved one other one, very small one from, and I couldn't tell it was from the esophagus area or from the breathing tube area.
I didn't even know that.
It was.
Holy
I'm
shit.
sorry.
You indicated that
Thought he had a
after
terrible
the
skull.
shot was fired, Miss Clarkson could have taken maybe one extraordinarily shallow breath in, correct?
Yes,
She would not have had the power to exhale.
that's correct.
All right. Is the tiny fragment that you found down in the esophageal area or the esophagus area, is that consistent with maybe either falling from gravity or from a very shallow breath in, drawing it down?
Yes, it is.
All right. In your opinion, were all the fragments that you found consistent with coming from a single bullet?
Yes,
In other words, you don't have any opinion that a second bullet or any multiple bullets were fired, correct?
correct.
Even though we have multiple fragments that were found.
That's correct.
In your opinion, is it common for a bullet when it strikes an extremely hard material like bone to shed or split or fragment?
Yes,
That's not uncommon.
Bill, what's up,
That's
dude?
correct.
The bullet that we're looking at in
Yeah, they're pretty
photographs
relaxed
B and
here.
C, did that completely transect Ms. Clarkson's spine?
Yes,
And the word transection means it literally cut it in half, correct?
or tore it apart, that's correct.
Right. Her spinal cord was completely torn in half.
Yes,
Jesus.
That bullet, the larger bullet in B and C, is that the bullet that you recovered from the base of the skull?
actually, that's from the back of the head, the back of the skull bone.
Right.
Yes,
Where you had pointed earlier, the bullet came to rest.
Yes,
All
right.
right. And you said that there was a I wonder if I can say this word, protuberance. In other words, a pushing out of the skull, correct?
yes,
All right. That's where that bullet was recovered.
that's correct.
I want to go back to, while we're on the subject of the bullet, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't mind going back to what's been marked as people's, I believe that's 44 for identification. I realize that this is a little bit shiny.
I believe that's the transparency is 43. You have a diagram which is 44.
I'm going to try to write on this transparency that I think that's a permanent marker in red. All right, do you see the transparency?
I think we're 4 away, Jen.
And it's sitting on graph paper.
Yes,
All right. You've talked about,
8.
Dr. Pena,
Yeah, I think we're 4 away.
that the bullet took. In other words, slightly upward, and we can see from
Wow.
this.
Make that 3 away, because Catherine just came through here with another 420, and she has a note. To add my cat to the will. Her name is Pumpkin. Wow. Okay, Catherine. Kathy coming through here. 420 to get Pumpkin on the will. Done. Pumpkin's on the will.
You drew
We have a cat on the will, baby.
from point
That's a first.
to point B,
Love it.
meaning
Pumpkin
from the
out
mouth.
there. You're on the will. Get excited. I better hear some meows.
Head does appear to be slightly upward in direction, correct?
yes,
Slightly
3
from
names
down
away.
to up, correct?
correct.
All right. This figure that you drew this on, is this supposed to be an anatomically
Crazy
correct
night.
figure standing
Oh my
basically
God.
straight up?
Will in that bitch. Let's go, Holly Berry. Oh, shit.
Or manipulated in any way?
Woo! What a
Mind,
night.
keep in mind, when we do an
$2.
autopsy, of course, the body's supine
Thank
on
you so
a
much, Holly.
table,
Appreciate it.
So it's, and to get it anatomically correct, everything would have to be tilted upward, just
2
a
away.
point, but it's important.
2 away.
Okay, and that is important. That's my question is, when you say that the path of the bullet was slightly upward in direction, are you saying that the gunshot was fired in a slightly upward direction?
No,
Okay. We're going to use a high-tech demonstration, if you don't mind.
okay.
If I put this pin in my mouth, is it, in your opinion, reasonable to approximate the basic direction that you're indicating for the jurors that the path of the bullet took? In other words, something like that, correct?
Yes,
And if this pin were to be extended through my head, it might end up somewhere at the base of my skull, correct?
yes,
And if in fact this pin were to extend all the way through my head, you could extend that infinitely, correct?
Yes.
Extend that line infinitely. It doesn't necessarily
Jake, welcome
stop
in
if
here.
You're simply showing a path, correct?
Correct.
Now, this path on this graph paper is indicative of how you saw or how you performed your analysis on Ms. Clarkson as she was laying supine, perfectly straight on a coroner's operating table, correct?
Yes.
If her head was tilted slightly when the shot was fired, would the trajectory change, or would it be exactly the same as it is here from point A to point B?
$2.
Well, it stays the same in terms
Give me a goodwill.
what I view at the autopsy, so that's not going to change no matter what way you turn that paper.
Okay, and I'll ask you in just a second to explain that in more detail. So now, if the head were tilted back just a little bit, you can see from the graph paper that now the path is directly horizontal with the ground, correctly?
Boom, that's another will, Miyabito. Holy shit.
Correct.
That's another will. Thank you so much.
Tilt the head a little further, slightly further. The path of the
Wow.
bullet
Let me
from
get it
A
going.
to B is still the same, correct?
Yes.
That doesn't change.
Correct.
Wow.
Yet now, looking at the graph paper, it appears that that's from up to down in direction.
Like that.
Correct?
The outer church. That's a shirt, dude. I got to get a cat shirt. Murder. That's a freaking shirt. Meowder shirt. Meowder church. I can't even fucking say it. I've got to get a note here right now before I forget about this. Hold on. That's a great idea, I think. We're going to see if it works. Wow.
Relatively simple explanation, Doctor. The point is, when you indicated that that path was down to, I'm sorry,
figure something out
was
with that.
down to up,
I like that.
slightly upward.
Holy shit.
You
Jersey
are
Jen.
not suggesting
Starting the next
position of
will.
her
Thank
head,
you so
correct?
much, Jen.
No.
So-
Jessica for Justice. I apologize. Thank you so much, Jessica for Justice. The J's got to me there. Jessica for Justice with the $1.99. Love y'all. Spin the wheel. Pammy coming through after that. Holy shit, another wheel is already forming. What is happening?
If in
Oh my
fact,
God.
that trajectory was
This is
something
insane.
like I'm holding now.
All right. Whew.
If I tilt my head back, the path stays the same, but the trajectory changes, correct? Like this.
Sorry, I don't quite understand.
Sure.
Sorry.
In other words, if this was a trajectory route
Right.
going through my head, this trajectory will never change no matter where
Wow.
I tilt my head, correct?
Correct.
From here to there. The trajectory stays the same, correct?
Correct.
All right. If the head is not moved, but yet the back is moved, and say the trajectory is here,
Wow. All right. Let me get this
and that's
thing going.
accurate, correct? Or
Yes.
relatively accurate.
This is
But if I lean
crazy.
back-
This is insane.
The trajectory, I'm sorry, the path hasn't changed, has it?
That's correct.
All right. Kind of a fourth grade demonstration, but the point is, Doctor, that from point A to point B, no matter where the head is, that point A and that point B is going to stay the same. Am I correct?
That's correct.
All right. You are not suggesting by your diagram the position that the shooter was in relative to the victim, correct?
That's correct.
You're not suggesting the position of her head when the shot was fired, are you?
No.
There's no way anatomically for you to figure that out, is there?
No.
A lot of chair squeaking going on here. Oh shit, Missy Mayhem getting on the next wheel. And Ginny
You indicated a little bit earlier, Doctor,
Monts
that
getting in here. Welcome in, Ginny Monts.
the words that
Probably butchered the hell out of that. Get in here, Missy Mayhem. Thank you so much.
you used or the phrase
Beers
that
in
you
the chat.
used was
Grog's in the
Ms.
chat.
Clarkson would have been immediately incapacitated, correct?
Yes.
Describe for the jurors exactly what that means. What does immediately incapacitated mean in terms of your findings?
It means that when that cord is severed
Wow.
at that higher level, she'll lose all functions. Number one, when we refer to functions physiologically, she's going to lose consciousness. She won't be able to move her arms. All the arm movement up here, including out to the fingers, everything's just going to go wherever she's at. She's going down. bottom line. Respiration, as I alluded to earlier, will cease. Heart rate may still go a little bit, but not very long, but it could go. But blood pressure will drop pretty rapidly after that, after the shot. All brain functions will cease. She will not talk. She will not scream. She won't cry, etc., or even to inhale, of course.
And I take it from that she would not be able to exhale or cough or anything of that nature either.
That's correct.
So she could not expel blood forcefully out of her mouth after that shot was fired.
That's correct.
There would be no expulsion, in your expert opinion, there would be no expulsion of blood once her spinal cord was severed, correct?
Overruled.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you indicated that death would have been immediate.
Yes.
With regard to Ms. Clarkson's teeth, we've already seen, I don't necessarily need to put that photograph up there. You recall the photograph showing the teeth that were missing from the front. You said the 2 incisors, correct?
Yes.
And there was also some broken material on one of the teeth to the left, correct?
Yes.
Ready to rock.
Did you find during the course of your autopsy, did you find any tooth material in the back of Ms. Clarkson's throat?
No.
Did you find any tooth material down in her respiration area?
No.
Did you find any tooth material lodged in her soft palate or otherwise?
No.
All right. Did you find any tooth material at all, broken, severed, or otherwise, inside of her mouth?
No.
All right. What did that tell you with regard to the way that Ms. Clarkson's teeth were broken?
The teeth were broken from the recoil, and the gun is inside the mouth.
If, in fact, the bullet had passed through the teeth from front to back, would you expect that the teeth would have been blown inside her mouth rather than out?
Yes.
Okay. Did that play a part in your determination that, in fact, this was consistent with the recoil of that steel muzzle going out of her mouth and shattering her teeth outwardly?
That's correct.
At the time of the discharge, and this sort of answers it, the answer to this question is almost obvious. At the time of the discharge, given the fact that your opinion is the barrel of the gun was inside Ms. Clarkson's mouth, her mouth had to be open, correct?
Oh, yes.
Not much longer left. We're going to wheel spin going to end this show today.
Focusing on the
Tonight.
head and neck
Wow.
and mouth
Like,
area of Ms.
tonight's been
Clarkson,
nuts,
did you
y'all.
also
Crazy.
analyze the rest of her body for injuries?
Yes, I did.
Did you find any bruising on her left arm?
On her left arm, I can't recall. You have a diagram?
I do.
Refresh my memory,
And
sorry.
I may be a little lax with. I may be lax with my terminology. It may be left hand, in your opinion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Left hand, correct.
Your Honor, I'd like to have marked with Peoples next to the Peoples 46, 2 photographs that appear to be autopsy photographs of.
Yeah, hearing the
Ms.
way
Clarkson's
that Phil Spector treated other women that have actually, are lucky enough to get out of the house or whatever happened, there was a lot of horrific stuff happened, period. Especially one lady in the hotel room. But, Lana Clarkson did not make it out of the house. Like, this dude liked to put fucking guns in women's faces. And he was told
so
no.
Mark, it's one photograph A and B with 2 photographs within it, if you will. It's one sheet of photographic paper. All right. It's 46, and it has A and B on it. All right.
It's brutal.
I'm sorry, so in People's 46?
Yes, in Peoples 46, did you note any bruising on or around Ms. Clarkson's left hand?
I did.
Could you describe that for the jurors, please?
If you look at the laser on picture A, it's this area here you want to focus on. It's very poor quality photo, I'm sorry, but if I have a diagram of the hands that you can see later. It shows it was a bruise. It was a light purple bruise. If you look at my own hand, I'll demonstrate here for you. About this area here, I believe it was about an inch and a half in diameter. It was significant, and that's due to some type of blunt force trauma. That's all I can tell you.
Taking a look at Your Honor, I'd like to have marked as Peoples next in order. I believe it's Peoples 47 now. An 8.5 by 11 document that bears 3 photographs, A, B, and C, appears to be of Ms. Clarkson's right hand and forearm area.
So marked.
I'm placing a P47 on the lower right-hand corner. Take a look, Doctor, at Peoples 47, A, B, and C. Did you note any bruising on her right forearm or hand area?
On the right forearm, I did.
Describe that for the jurors, please.
Okay. If you look, I'm going to point with the laser on picture B. There's 2 bruises here, right near the palm part of the hand, not too far away. There's a light, kind of a grayish, maybe purple contusion or bruise. And right here above the card, the blue card, there's another bruise right there. I believe these are each about a ½ inch. And here, if you look at picture C, to the right outside part of the wrist area, it was a real dark purple bruise here. And I forgot the measurement on that, but it's quite significant, as you can see it right there.
All right. Those bruises, specifically I want to draw your attention to the bruise toward the left of photograph B and prominently displayed in photograph C. Those are both on Ms. Clarkson's right forearm area, correct?
Yes.
And one appears to be here, where my thumb is, correct? On the wrist area?
It would be on toward the pinky finger side.
Okay, on this side?
Yes.
All right, and the other appears to be, this one appears to be where?
This is toward, I'll demonstrate it myself, the bony part of this wrist bone, to keep it simple.
Okay, so both of those bruises are on the pinky side of the hand, if you will, correct?
I'm sorry, I don't want to get you confused. The
Please.
one in picture C, if you look at my own, I'll just demonstrate it myself, it's right here.
Okay.
Near that protuberant, or that bony part. There's a purple bruise or red bruise, however you want to describe it.
And where's the one on picture B?
I put my palms out in front of you here, there's one toward this part of the thumb area, right about here, and one higher up would be right about here in the center, above the blue card on picture B.
All right, so back to my original question. Taking those photographs together, B and C, these 2 bruises here and here are basically on opposite sides of the same wrist, correct? Where my thumb is and where my forefinger is, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and they're both somewhat circular in form?
Yes.
All right. And there's another bruise further up the forearm where my thumb is here, correct?
Correct.
All right. And that's indicated in photograph B.
Yeah,
yes?
may I look at my diagrams? Just for a second, I want to be accurate for you. I don't want to give you misinformation.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a recess at this time anyway, so I'll give the doctor an opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in
Okay,
mind
we're gonna
the
start back
admonition
with
will be in
him.
recess for 15 minutes. Thank you.
With Dr. Pena. Let's see. Length of the next video. 47 minutes, yeah. We'll probably start this one on Sunday. That's where we'll start off. Continue on with Dr. Pena here. Everyone tonight, holy shit, what an insane murder church tonight. This has been crazy. This has been wild. Yeah, we have one more wheel spin. We're going to do it right now. If you have not hit that like and you came through randomly, please do so. If you're not following on X, on Twitter, you should be. And yeah, the next time you will see me and Dan should be Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time for a show. And then, of course, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll start here on YouTube, and then we'll head over to the old Kick and get into something. Who knows what? We'll see what's happening. But yeah, Murder Church is a thing that has been popping for a minute, and I appreciate everybody that comes through and hanging and banging, baby. We're about to do it right now. We're getting the wheel going right now. We're going to have a third shirt winner right now live. Let's go, baby. Let's get it in here. Kitty C been coming through, trying to get one of these things. Hell yes, Kitty C. Getting a shirt, baby. We're not messing around. Hell yeah. Let me get you in the winner circle here real quick. Kitty C. Oh, you want it, man. Hold on one sec. I want to get you in the winner circle so I do not forget. I've got a lot of winners in here now after this last week. This has been wild. I got to get some stuff ordered. Okay. Yeah, the next wave. I said this on Sunday, but I'm going to do it actually as soon as this ends right here. The next wave. Bonnie Bailey has another one coming, but I've got to figure out her first one. Actually, I got it back, which sucks. And I'm going to send it out again, and I'm going to get with her through the email. So the next wave before that one for Bonnie, because I'm going in order here. Akasha, who just sent me, she wants the Publicly Buzzed Lightning shirt in a large. Actually, no, your first one, Akasha. Akasha is a 2-time winner as well. I've got so many names here. Akasha's first shirt is going to be in this next wave for the Publicly Buzzed Lightning Bolt shirt. And then Gail, so Gail is in Canada also. So right now I'm waiting on Gail's first shirt to get to me. I actually have to physically get the shirts that go outside of the country and then mail it. So Gail, we're going to give you a shot as soon as I get that. I'm expecting that hopefully soon. I ordered that last week. So Gail, yours is on the way to me right now. Taryn Dusty with your Buzzed Mysteries shirt coming through. That is going to be in this next wave. So right now in the next wave for sure, we got Akasha, we got Taryn, Dusty, and then Laura. I don't know if I've seen Laura in the chat here tonight. Laura, I need to get your information, and she will be in the next wave as well. And I think Madeline is going to be in this next wave too. Yeah, we have a bunch of people that have won multiple times. This last Friday was absolutely insane. I've got one person from Kick that's only been on Kick that I hopefully will come back through the chat sometime. But yes, we have more stuff happening, baby. And do not miss a show because you never know what may happen on Publicly Buzzed or on the Wheel. And again, thank you so freaking much, Ember Burns, for this insane freaking crocheted ball. Like, it's the coolest freaking thing. Like, it's so soft. Like, it blows me away how, like, sturdy it is. Like, how thick it is. Like, oh, okay. All right. I'm going to stop. This has been insane. Incredible evening here at Murder Church. You folks freaking rule. I love you guys. And yeah, Thursday night come through. I'll probably see you in the chats tomorrow. Probably in Jay's channel. Actually, let me see where I can send you. I can probably do a portal and get him started off on the right foot. Let's see here. We'll do that real quick, and that'll be a nice way to end this thing. I believe if he's got it set up, I'm going down, baby. Here we go. Day 2. Boom. There it is. There it is, baby. Getting ready to get portaled straight over to the Shaming and Jay, the man, the dude, my dad. I can't stop. I'm freaking out. Like, it's so freaking cool. That's what she said. All right, I'm going to stop. All right. Love you guys. Have a great night. I'll see you Thursday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.